Folks, we're going to break away from the George Birch trial in northeastern Wisconsin to talk with a guest here on the Law and Crime Network about the Donald Smith death penalty decision that came down earlier this afternoon. Kerri-Ann Buck was the prosecution's only witness in the penalty phase of the case, and she joins us now live here on the Law and Crime Network. Kerri-Ann, it's difficult to speak with you under the circumstances, but thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Your reaction to hearing that death penalty verdict?
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of emotions. I definitely believe that Cherish got justice today.
I know that your thoughts are with her and her family, and I know that you wanted to talk about that a little bit.
Absolutely. I can't imagine the hurt that her mother feels. I've spoke to her. I met her. We do talk. I've been keep in contact with her since I met her the day that I testified. I hope we always stay in contact. This has been a very long road for her, and I just want to make sure that, you know, when I'm discussing these things, that the attention is not moved from Cherish, as she is what's important to all of us.
When you look at these pictures of her, what goes through your mind? What do you see?
I see a child that was taken from this world by a monster.
She looks like such a happy little girl. The sort of girl that many of us live next to, people that we see in schools, in our neighborhoods, on our playgrounds.
Absolutely.
Do you see parallels of yourself in her? Because, of course, the reason that you were connected to this whole thing is because, as you testified, you were approached by this defendant. And you testified, quote, "I knew he was going to hurt me." And you got up on the stand and said that he had tried to take you many, many years ago. So I'm sure that despite the heartache and despite the anguish, you feel some kinship.
I do. I feel, I mean, I'm lucky. Unfortunately, Cherish was not that lucky. And I feel like it's my responsibility to let the world know the fear that she felt, because I felt that fear.
You felt that this defendant was approaching you, that he was going to take you, and you ran and hid inside a slide, as I understand it, at a playground or something, and then later he showed up outside your house, and you and your mom had to basically chase him down to try to get his license plate number to call police and tell them what happened. And in your case, they were able to track him down, arrest him, and he got 6 years in prison for it. But he went on to now be convicted of committing many other crimes. Did the system fail Cherish Periwinkle? Did it fail other people? Did it fail you?
I think that it's difficult in crimes like this with children, because I think that the main focus on these attorneys are to keep the victims and the children from having to relive these crimes. So a lot of these cases, they offer plea bargains and things so that the victims don't have to testify and go through all of this and face these things. And I know that me at 13, like, that was my biggest fear, was to have to go sit in court and to see him again. So I don't really feel that the victim, or that the system failed per se. I think that you know, we missed the point that you can't blame someone else for the actions of a monster.
Certainly not. You have had to take the brave step of getting up on the witness stand, swearing an oath, and finally looking him in the eye. Take us to that moment. What was going through your mind? How did you stay strong?
I was terrified. There's no other way to put it. I was terrified. I just kept telling myself that I was doing this for Cherish and to bring justice to her. and for her mother.
And you were repeating that in the background as you had to relive your own story from Jacksonville in 1992. You've moved far away. Many years have gone by, but that must have been an incredibly hard thing to do and an incredibly brave thing to do, as I said.
Yeah, it was very difficult. Sitting in the courtroom with him was very hard. He's just the way he looked at me, I think was difficult.
How so?
He's very smug.
So we know that he will face the death penalty at this point. And just before we wrap up here, any final thoughts? If you had one more chance to say one more thing to anyone, the judge, the prosecutor, the defendant, the victim's mother, what would you say?
I think justice was served today for Cherish, and I just hope that at some point everyone can find a small amount of peace in that.
Very well. Kerri-Ann Buck, who testified at the death penalty phase of this trial about a previous abduction attempt that happened to her back in 1992. Thank you very much for joining us live today on Law and Crime.
Absolutely.
Take care.